Welcome to Hear From Where, a podcast about the journeys that shape us. I'm your host, Chef Andrew Garrett, and each week I'll sit down with incredible individuals who've carved their own paths in health, nutrition, entrepreneurship, sports, and beyond. This is where we dive deep into the stories of determination, resilience, and passion, the moments that brought them here, from where they started. Whether you're looking for inspiration, a spark to start your own journey, or just love hearing amazing stories, then you're in the right place. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's explore what it really takes to follow your dreams. Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Hear From Where. I am your host, Chef Andrew Garrett. I am joined today for episode 1 of season 2 by my good friend, William Steele. Will is a friend of mine that I have had the pleasure of getting to know over the last several months. His depth of character does not end at everyday life. He has a history and a background in theatrical arts. And I am extremely excited to share some of his journey because it's been something I've really enjoyed getting to learn about you, Will. I've also been learning words from Will, which is good for me because I struggle with asking what a word means. And I think that we've covered now 4 words, and it's been very enlightening to me. We've also talked about William G. Harding. And so I have a few questions about him today as well. So for anybody that does have information on William G. Harding, please don't leave it in the comments. Will, thank you for joining me. I am excited to dive into this. How are you today? What's going on?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It took us a long time to finally pin it down, but I'm glad to be here. I'm doing really well. I got a good night's sleep last night, so and then started the day off with a meeting, and so feeling really good.
Excellent. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Westland, Oregon. Actually, I was born on the beach. I was born in Lincoln City in a hospital, and
oh, okay. Well, I immediately envisioned the beach, which would be on brand for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there is a little bit of a twist to it. I'm the oldest of 3, and my parents were on what's now colloquially referred to as a baby moon. It was their last vacation as a couple before I was due to arrive. But I was 6 weeks early, so they were on vacation in the hotel room when my mom's water broke. And so they left as a couple, came back as a family. And that's sort of part of the William Steele folklore.
I love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So growing up in Westland, you've seen Oregon change exponentially over your lifetime. So I tend to get too far ahead, and I like to get some of the background. So what led you to find acting as a passion? Like, what was that like, finding your voice? I don't know if the voice is more singing, or how do they say for acting?
The ultra pretentious way to say it is I found my instrument. How did I find my instrument?
There we go. I like that.
And I was actually sharing this story with a mutual friend of ours, Stacy, this morning. In the 7th grade, my friend and I performed the parrot sketch from Monty Python for a talent show. And we took second place. First place was claimed by a person who did a lip sync to the Splish Splash I Was Taking a Bath, complete with a bathtub shower curtain costume. So we thought, we memorized our lines, and it was actually us talking. They were just lip syncing, but costumes matter, I guess, so, and we were happy with second place, but I think I can remember the laughter, the room, the gymnasium, really, really laughing and enjoying it. And it was the students and the adults. And it created a sensation that I really liked. It just it stuck with me. And so I took acting classes when I was in high school, and then started auditioning for the shows.
Fantastic. What was the first show that you auditioned for?
The very first show I auditioned for is called On the Razzle, and it's a show by Tom Stoppard. He is probably most recognizable in contemporary circles for his help in compiling the script for Shakespeare in Love, the 1996 Academy Award winner. But this is one of his earlier plays, and I auditioned for it, and I was cast as the constable, the very, very important keeper of the peace, who I believe had 4 lines. But the interesting piece to that is I got to ride my unicycle in the show. And it had just been something I'd listed on my high school freshman version of a resume for the audition. And the director, a guy named John Ayers, he asked if I actually did know how to ride a unicycle, or was I just fucking around. And I said, I do know how to ride the unicycle. And so he put me in the opening montage as a unicyclist.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you ride the unicycle now?
Very rarely. It actually, I developed a fear of riding wheeled things that it is a horse I need to really get back on after I was involved in an accident. I tell people it's the only time I've gotten to ride on a Jaguar. It was a brief ride.
Because that's pretty good. I feel like I have empathy for the accident, but I appreciate your light of the subject. It's one of the things I really enjoy about you is you bring a fantastic light to most serious topics, but not in a way that it's condescending to someone, but it's kind of a shared understanding, and you're able to allow folks to laugh through some relatively serious things, but that laughter helps heal that. And I think that's one of the gifts that you really bring with you, is that ability to help people laugh through the serious stuff. And I appreciate it about you. Like, going back to hearing that laughter for the first time and kind of realizing that is something that filled your heart. Have you found yourself seeking more like comedic roles, or you look for more melodramatic or calm? What is the thing that you love to seek out now?
Now, I really, really want something that I can dig my teeth into, or sink my teeth into, dig my claws into. I've learned that with the right amount of work and dedication and passion, even non-speaking roles can be some of the most memorable. And that, I would say two huge moments that for me were when my former partner, I was complaining about directors, and she asked, did I find it odd that I always seemed to be cast by bad directors? And realized that maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was me. So I took a pretty big step away from the diva in me, and realized that, maybe I should just do my best work no matter what. And then I got cast in a production of As You Like It as Charles the Wrestler and Francois the Flower Distributor. Francois is a made up character. I mean, I guess they're all made up, but Francois was not part of the original dramatis personae, but Charles was, and he actually has some really cool lines about honor and respect and things like that, which were all cut. And instead, Charles the wrestler was made into a luchador with a full face mask. And so I remember being really grateful that I'd already made that transition to just doing the best that I could, because I could see very easily how, like, well, you cut all these great lines. I don't even have any fun lines. And now no one even knows that it's me, blah, blah, blah. And instead I was like, I get to be a professional wrestler in a stage show. So I'm just going to make this awesome. And I loved it. Like I was the what is it? The heel? Is the heel the bad guy in professional wrestling? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was the heel, and I just did all the stuff, like put my ear up and, like, or raised the crowd and roar, did all that cool stuff. And I would say that the thing that really meant a lot to me is that one of our reviews, there were only 2 actors that were mentioned in the reviews, and one was the lead, Rosalind, and the other one was me. And they called out how these 2 non-speaking parts were just some of the most fun parts of the show, and they really enjoyed the work that I'd done. And Francois was at the end throwing flowers everywhere. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life, throwing flowers. So I think that just making the most of whatever part I'm given. And the goal is not to be mentioned in the reviews. The goal is to just truly do the best I can, although I do like being mentioned in reviews.
Well, sure. I mean, everybody likes to be told that they're doing a good job. That's fantastic, though. And it's, again, one of those areas that I think get overlooked a lot, especially, okay, so this is me standing on my soapbox. I'm going to stand on my soapbox. I know I do it a lot, people. They get, my audience is used to me and my soapboxes. So I am one of those old school people. I enjoy theater versus cinema, which are 2 very different things. There's something that happens in my mind when I watch people on a stage perform that hits me in a way that's so much deeper than sitting on my couch or in a theater with 100 other people and watch something on a screen. Sure, like, cinema is fantastic, and what they do is phenomenal. Like, I'm not trying to discredit anybody. I'm just saying my experience is that watching true theater hits me in a way that's different. Is when you're explaining your non-speaking role and mannerisms and how important those are, that's like, oh, that's the thing that gets me. Is I love seeing, like, physical humor. Physical acting is what really draws me to it, and I feel like I'm there when I'm in a theater. Is that kind of I'm looking for validation here. I need to have my feelings validated that this is a real phenomenon that happens. Yes?
Oh,
no?
Definitely. So there's sort of I don't know that it's 100% true. I have very limited experience with TV and film. I do have some, but that the shift from stage to cinema or film camera is significantly easier than the shift from camera to stage. And with my limited experience, one of the things that I've noticed is the safety net feature. There's no stop, start. I can't do a scene on stage 30 different times and then let the audience pick their favorite one. The other thing is that, as you and I were discussing before we started recording, cinema is such a rarefied environment. I say cinema, but I do mean just camera, film, even though it's digital or film or whatever. And the things that are really interesting is that, let's say somebody's watching the recording of this, but on their home theater, our heads are on like a 92-inch screen, and you and I take up almost the entire screen. So now, instead of my eyebrows, raising, half an inch, they're going up like 3 inches. So suddenly everything becomes so magnified. And on stage, it is so critical to put energy into everything. And so instead of these little micro movements, where, a close up, just looking to my right and then back at the camera can mean anything. On stage, if I do something that's subtle, I mean, the back row, they don't know that anything's happened. And so I think that the combination of no safety net, as well as truly needing just this incredible awareness of everything that's happening with your body. And I think that it is the same in film, but it's different. There's an acute awareness of stillness that's necessary for film. And pretty much it exclusively focuses on the face, where stage, it really has to be the whole person.
Huh. I hadn't thought about it in that perspective, but yeah, I mean, the close-up camera view of someone like having like a shocked expression, or like you said, I mean, just like, oh, it's so much different to see that on stage where it's a physical movement, like, or
yep,
it that makes sense. I've also been in theaters where I was in the top balcony area and people down below were laughing at something that I was not comprehending. So I can see where, maybe that's what it is. My ADHD loves theater because there's so much going on that it puts me in focus mode. I'm not like, theater where I could fiddle about or sitting at home where the cats come in and I get distracted quickly. And, but I like that. Like the difference in mannerisms alone, the camera can do so much more, or can do so much to highlight those things versus stage where you have to be more of a full body experience.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that I think the example I use, oh man, it's the movie Basic Instinct, Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone.
Classic.
There's a scene where Michael Douglas is in the background and you can see almost all of his body, but Sharon Stone is way in the foreground and she takes up most of the screen. And it looks like she's furiously rocking back and forth. It looks like she's just really, really working through her anxiety. But I realized that to accomplish that shot, Sharon Stone is truly moving maybe an inch forward and an inch back and an inch forward and an inch back. But because if she really were to rock like someone in that level of distress, she would cover Michael Douglas and then reveal him and then cover. I mean, it would be an insane shot. It couldn't be in the movie. It's just something that because of the time I've spent in a little bit of time with film training, that I was able to notice that. And, but I was just like that, but that's sort of the magic. But that level of subtlety on stage, like you said, maybe reads to the front row. But I think most stage directors would be like, no, Sharon, we need you to really move. You can't, hon, it can't be that tight.
Rad. I like that. So you know what? I'm going to start asking this question. I'm going to ask this early in the interview because I want folks to resonate on it. Is who's this? And you don't have to name names. You don't have to name names. Can you describe the strangest person you've ever met?
Yeah, I don't know their name.
Perfect.
But this individual I actually encountered in Lone Fir Cemetery. I was on a walk with my friend David, and it is a truly bizarre experience that has moved into that place of, did that really happen? And my friend David and I, in fact, reconnected some years ago and had an almost identical experience with each other. Like, that happened, right? You remember that? And we're like, yes, I do. So we were in Lone Fir Cemetery, and it's sort of around dusk. And we hear two people having a ferocious fight. It's a man and a woman are just screaming at each other, and we can sort of see the outline of them across the cemetery, but we can't really see them, and we know that there's a lot of animation happening. Like they're moving a lot, but they're obviously like right on top of each other, like face to face screaming. And David and I decided, well, we're gonna we should maybe do something about this. Maybe a bad decision, but we're like, whatever. So we start walking towards, and as we get closer, the cognitive dissonance finally synchronizes into clarity, and we realize that it is one person screaming at themselves and switching back and forth between these personas seamlessly. And this individual is dressed in an eclectic form of androgyny. It's not like some kind of neutered. It's very flamboyant, but it is not particularly obvious if there's a proclivity one way or another. The two voices are male and female, or masculine and feminine, and the statures are similar, and they're just bouncing back and forth. And for a very short moment in time, David and I think that this individual is just performing, right? A fellow actor. But then, in the midst of the fight, one of their personas, we decided it was sort of the more feminine one, notices us, walks over to us, takes off this hand-knit scarf, puts it around my neck, and then says, "Here, this will protect you." And the thing that was very bizarre is that when they walked up to us, they kept contorting their head in this very odd sort of way to not allow us to see their eyes. They just wouldn't. They kept, and then put the scarf around my neck, and then they booked it out of the cemetery. And so David and I are standing there, super confused. And then I look at David and I say, How did they know we need protecting? And no joke, hand to heart, the moment I say that, we look back to the gate. The masculine persona is now fully embodied on them, and they are coming straight at us. Power walking right at us. And I look at David and I go, "David, I think we can take him." And David's like, "Will, I think we can run." And so we start running at an oblique angle from where we were. And then whoever this person was, they start running to keep up with us. And we go around, we get out to the gate, we burst out the gate so that we've got, the street to our back, and we turn to look, and they're gone. So they're gone. Like ducked behind a tree, hid in the mausoleum. It was absolutely bonkers. So then we booked it back to David's place, and then kind of recovered. But I would say that is I'm not sure which adjective you used, but whatever that adjective was, that person is definitely the top.
Wild. Dude, that's
yeah.
That's good. I like that. My mind, what I want to know is, do you still have the scarf?
I do still have the scarf. I call it the blueberry scarf. It looks like some blueberry themed yarn. I don't know specifically where the scarf is at the moment. It's either in the bottom drawer of my dresser or it's in a costume collection, but I can't get rid of the blueberry scarf. That's the proof that it happened.
That's wild. What a cool story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Oh, now, I wanted to share one more thing that was very strange.
Oh, yeah.
The scarf no longer smells like this person. It's just been years. But for a very long time, the scarf had this very strange smell that also matched this person. It had a almost sweet perfume, but again, very natural, like apple blossoms or something. And then this subtle, acrid undertone. So it was this, it is unlike anything I've ever smelled. And I was like, man, if I could keep anything, it'd be that smell. But of course now it just smells like clothes.
Wild. I love it. As someone who also enjoys costumes, in rugby culture in America, the after match get togethers often lend themselves to gregarious expressions of different themes. And so over the years of playing rugby, I'd collected a plethora of costumes. As someone in theatrical arts, how many do you have? A closet full of costumes, or you got a few like prop sets that you can turn into different characters over time? Like, what do you got? What's it look like for you?
So I ran a theater company for 10 years, and most of my costume stuff stayed with the theater company when I parted ways. But in my closet right now, I have one costume that I use every year around Christmas time. I help Santa on the Santa train every year as the real life version of Buddy the Elf. So I am by far and away the biggest elf. Most of the other elves are middle schoolers or diminutive high schoolers, and then there's Buddy. But it is not the Buddy the Elf costume we know and love from Will Ferrell and the movie Elf. It incorporates these bizarre burgundy leggings, green Chuck Taylors, these hilarious Jingle Bell Christmas wreath earrings, bright pink tutu, and a pair of Jingle Bell suspenders that I made myself that is just covered in bells. And that, I would say, that is the costume that I have still in my closet. Otherwise, all of my other costumes are with Oregon Adventure Theater.
I look forward to seeing this costume.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, you should come to the Santa train.
I am very excited. And where's the Santa train at?
It's at the Northwest Rail Heritage building, which is right behind OMSI.
Oh, okay.
So it's right behind OMSI. I think they start the runs around Thanksgiving, or maybe a little after Thanksgiving, and then they go up through Christmas. But yeah, just let me know. As Buddy the Elf, I have connections. I can get you on board for free. So,
well, I appreciate that, and I look forward to it. This gives me something to look forward to this winter, besides dreary rain. That's as we get to enjoy here in the Pacific Northwest. So I find that with different costumes, I can create different personas of who I want to be. I think that's something that I've done in my personal life over the years. Is I've always been able to be kind of a chameleon into social situations as kind of a defense mechanism to feel connected to people. Christina actually calls me out on this all the time because I will get around some folks from the South, and all of a sudden I'm just talking in a twang and, oh, how y'all doing? It's great to see you. Like, how's your mom? Like, and I changed my character in these social situations. But I also noticed that, like, when I had my different costumes for rugby, depending on which costume it was a completely different setup. I mean, there was a point where I was Tweedledee of Tweedledee and Tweedledum for a rugby festival with my friend Nick, who I love to death, and my short red sequin shorts and my tight sequin red tank top. And what else do we have? We had the yellow shirts underneath, and then the little the airplane buzzing multicolored cap. And that one was you turn into Tweedledum, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, Tweedledee. Do you find that with costume comes character, or do you find your character and then build a costume? What's your method there?
I mean, from training, definitely, because costumes almost always come later. It's character then costume. But there is that old adage, the clothes make the man. And so I can definitely remember one of my favorite holiday or Halloween parties. My partner and I went as John Ralphio and Mona Lisa from Parks and Rec. And it was like we burst into the party in character, just made a huge ruckus, insulting people, hitting on people, being, I mean, just bananas. And, you know, our costumes were great. We did our hair up, and I don't think we dropped those characters until we left. I mean, we just stayed Mona Lisa for, and John Ralphio forever. And I think that I also have a drag persona named Gloria Casey. And I definitely know that Gloria doesn't work without her costume and her makeup. You know, she's not, you know, it's just, there isn't really, I don't sit around practicing Gloria's voice and imagining, like, as soon as the costume's on, the hair's done, I mean, it's a wig and I got the eyelashes, once all that's there, and then suddenly the character shows up. So I can definitely see it both ways. But I have the most experience creating the character first, but that's just sort of the temporal nature of theater.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Speaking of like going into character, stage fright. Have you ever experienced stage fright? You seem like you're the type of person who's not gonna, like, you just jumped out there, like you're saying in the talent show, like you just jumped out there and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be good. Now, have you ever found yourself kind of like, oh my god, is this gonna, like, I don't know what stage fright is. Have you ever experienced a thing where you're like, oh my god, I can't do this, or is this just such a natural expression of yourself that it's natural?
So I would say that the level of stage fright I experience is inversely proportional to how much I've prepared. If I am confident that I've left everything on the practice field, like everything's in the rehearsal room, I have done everything I can, my lines are memorized, then I'm rarely, I mean, I get anxious, but I think about that like going out to play football or going to a party. Like, there's just nerves to participating in something. But as far as the fright, like locking up, oh my god, this is too much, I can't do this, I pretty much have only experienced that if I haven't done my work.
Checks out. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, if I'm not memorized, if I'm going to be worrying about dropping lines or things like that, then yeah, I'm worried I'm going to look stupid.
The fear of everybody. Am I going to look stupid doing this? I experience that every time I hit that record button on this. Is like, how am I going to sound? Because, you know, I don't edit any of these. They're all, you know, we hit record and we go. So there's no going back and cleaning it up and making myself sound better than I do. So it's one of the things I like about this kind of format is that whatever exists. There's no going back. And, you know, again, like kind of talking about theater is there's no cut. Hold on, go back and re-say it this way. Have you experienced in theater, like, I mean, how do y'all adjust to, oh no, that was a mistake? How do we, like, is it a very on the fly, oh, we just got to correct this and kind of like move along with it? Or is it a, oh no, everything's ruined?
I mean, there's that very famous axiom, the show must go on. Also excellent song by Queen. But I would say that on stage, we hopefully are cohesive enough and rehearsed enough that we can accommodate for accidents, mistakes, dropped lines, missed cues. In my own personal life, when I was in a show in college, my scene partner, my character gives this monologue, and then he's supposed to be interrupted by this other woman coming on stage, and it's an interruption. There's no more words to this monologue, and usually I can see her in the wings, and I know that she's ready, and I'm prepared, and so I do my little glance, and she's not there, and I think, oh no. And so then I get to the end of the monologue. There's no interruption. So I just finish the thought logically for how, had I not been interrupted, this is what I probably would have said. I then go sit down and pull out this little notebook that the character had. And in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, all right, I have 3 seconds till the audience knows something's wrong, 2, 1. And then I just start making it up. I'm just and then I'm here's the page. This is what I wanted to tell you. And I just start making stuff up. And coincidentally, my scene partner was in the green room, and somebody goes, what the shit is Will saying? That, what the fuck is he talking about? And then all of a sudden, her name is Ami. She goes, fuck. And then she comes running out the wrong entrance, just explodes on stage. And then we went from there. So, I'd say that's kind of a bigger catastrophe, but pretty much the only time that we will say hold or stop is if something has gone horribly wrong. And usually not in regards to the script. I wasn't in this show, but I was directing it, but we had an audience member in the middle of, while we were performing, she got up and fell and hit her head. And I happened to see it, and then I immediately stood up and told everybody hold, and we paused the show. The ambulance was called, and the whole 9 yards. So, and then we did finish, but there was definitely, that was okay, do not keep going.
Wait a minute. Time out. There's an actual emergency. Let's deal with this. So, and that leads me to, actually, that's a good thought. That's a thought that I'm having right now is, do you enjoy improvisational acting as well as scripted? What's your favorite kind of acting?
That's a great question. I enjoy improv, but I definitely prefer working with a script. I think that I have a real appreciation for good writing, and plays are a very unique style of literature in that it is exclusively dialogue that moves everything forward. There's clearly exceptions to that. There are plays that have no words, performance art. It's hard to categorize, and I'm speaking fairly generally here. But everything everything that we experience is from the words. There's no descriptions. There's no tone. There's no mood. There's no adverbs, right? We have to glean and pull everything out of it. And so when there's a piece of writing that is from an extremely gifted writer, a good writer, it just becomes almost, I'm fractalicious. That's a made up word, but fractitious, I don't know. Anyway,
I love it.
The farther in, there's this image, and then you focus in on this one spot, and then it becomes the image, and then you focus in on that spot, and there's no end to the depth. You can make it as massive as you want. and that holds true for every character in the script. And so I think I really have a passion for doing the research, digging through and finding the nuances. Improv is very fun. I think that I'm impressed. I think it's a really cool skill. It's definitely something that requires a lot of practice, and truly does require this very delicate balance of humility and ego. Because if one person decides to steal the show every single time, nobody really wants to work with them. And on the flip side, if you aren't willing to sacrifice and put something out there, then nothing happens either. So,
like I said, one of my favorite examples of improv is Michael Scott and his improv troupe in The Office. It's a fantastic episode that sticks out in my mind. But speaking of research, so I did a little bit of research, Will. I don't know if you know this, but I fancy myself quite the Googler.
Excellent.
So I found out, and maybe you already know this. Well, let me phrase this. This is a question. I need to ask a question. Have you heard of the actor William Steele? Born in 1888, deceased in 1967. An American-born actor, William Steele.
I have not heard of that William Steele. Tell me more.
Yeah, silent films, all the way into actual talking films.
Really? Well, I'll have to look this guy up. I was aware of the author, William Steele, and I was aware of the naturalist and founder of Crater Lake National Park, William Steele, but not the silent film actor, William Steele.
Yeah. I always like to, because Andrew Garrett is a common name. I mean, if you Google Andrew Garrett, you get a plethora of Andrew Garretts, and they are all over the world, and they've done all kinds of cool things. So I always like to look at my guest's name and just like Google very vaguely, like Andrew Garrett, and then see what comes up. Cool. It's a fun little exercise. It's kind of like the Florida Man thing, where you type in what do you type in? You type in your birthday, Florida Man, and Google spits out guy robs a convenience store for 2 gallons of milk, then wrestles an alligator in a meth-induced frenzy or something like that. Some of my favorite things. Like I enjoy parody of real life. That's again, one of the things I really enjoy about our conversations is that the parody of reality is we can so easily look at the doom of the world, or we can laugh through it. You have, and I have to tell you this, is you have one of the most wonderful laughs, and I enjoy when you laugh. It makes me laugh, and it is primo.
Thank you.
What has been something you're working towards currently? Right? What's Will got personally working toward?
You mean like emotionally?
I mean, in the whole world. Like I want to know Will. Like we want to know Will.
What is Will doing? Like, well, I've got a few irons in the fire right now. I would say the most pressing is that my wife and I are moving into a 5th wheel out in Estacada, out by the North Fork Reservoir. I am also in the process of writing the first book in a trilogy called the Junkyard series that focuses on 2 werewolves. And I am also in the middle of building a houseboat that hopefully my wife and I will be moving into sometime next year. It was supposed to be hopefully this year, but moving out to Estacada just took priority. We just sort of inserted it in front of the houseboat. But I'd say those are the things that are eating up most of my bandwidth right now. I also love baking bread, but I have had to put that on hold as we packed up our kitchen. So
yeah, hard to bake bread if you don't got the kitchen equipment to bake it with.
Correct.
Although, I will admit that settlers that came west baked bread without kitchens.
They did.
So
They did. I do have a Dutch oven and charcoal. So I feel like that is a thing that I need to.
I like bread, Will.
I do
I'm
too.
not trying to drop a hint or suggest that you're any less of a baker because you need a kitchen. And I've been told that I'm a professional chef.
You are a professional chef.
Yeah,
you get paid to cook. I still have to pay to cook. So, but yeah, this is maybe the kick in the pants I've needed because I do this festival called Soak, which is a Burning Man adjacent festival every year out in Ty Valley. And I take a camp called Fresh Hot Nudes. We make Italian style noodles. So it's NOODS, not NUDES. And I have really, really wanted to be able to bake fresh sourdough bread at Soak. But the manageable way to do that is with a Dutch oven instead of bringing an oven.
But see, that in itself is a skit. I've got friends, Mark and Carly. They go out to Soak every year, and
do they?
Yeah, they greatly enjoy the participation. I like hearing what makes people happy because there's something in watching somebody's face light up when they talk about something they're passionate and excited about. That just fills my stinking cup, man. It is so much. They have told me so much, and it just sounds like something I actually finally need to do. But it also happens to fall in a time that I'm typically working pretty heavily. So I haven't made it happen, but it's on my list. But I like the play on words. Fresh hot nudes. Yes, fresh hot nudes. Not to be confused with send nudes. Or maybe to be utilized as see, there you go. Maybe what it is it's actually a delivery service in which people can send nudes to their friends.
That actually occurred for the first time this year. We had a please send nudes that was like group to group. It basically worked out that because there's a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and so it was specifically for groups or other theme camps that were like their offerings were also occurring during our noodle service, and so it was a way for us to please send nudes. And so we would send them, they would send us their bowls, their containers, we would fill them, and then we would deliver them. It's a very hush hush thing, so to speak. We aren't going to just go around bringing it to everybody, but but nobody tried to abuse the system. It was always received well and well intentioned. So yes, send nudes.
That's awesome.
We started that this year and it went very well.
Yes, I'm so glad that exists. That makes me happy. I'm glad that it's existed in the world because the world needs more nudes,
especially these kind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't need grok to turn your high school gym teacher into these nudes.
No. I mean, that would be fascinating though to picture. That's actually a good question. My high school gym teacher would be like I think he'd be similar to like Oricchietti because Coach Mac was a monster of a man. Like it was a hard line rule. You could not take your shirt off in gym class unless you get bench press more than Coach Mac. And Coach Mac was like in his 60s and he just like rep 315. Just an absolute monster of a human being and just a fantastic leader. So maybe Oricchietti, because the muscle, like I picture like the Oricchietti being like his muscles. Well, now I'm going to be thinking about other teachers and what they would have been in noodle form.
What would be their noodle form?
Yeah, I'm going to ponder this one. I'm going to have a couple. I'm going to think about this, and I hope everybody listening is envisioning their favorite high school teacher as noodle form.
Yes, noodle form, not nude form.
Noodle form, not nude form. Noodle, old form.
We are not advocating for using grok to make nudes of your high school teachers.
No, but maybe utilizing. I wonder what it would make me look like as a noodle form. Like, what would it assume? See, this is a whole side project. Like squirrel. This is how I get distracted quickly. Well, I digress.
We digress.
Acting. What is your favorite movie? Will, what is your favorite movie?
What a tough question.
Okay, what is your favorite comedy?
Harold and Maude.
Harold and Maude.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that one in years. What was it that drew you to Harold and Maude?
I think that the messaging in it, the movie is summed up by this really wonderful scene where Maude asks Harold what kind of a flower would he like to be, and he points at a daisy, and she gets excited about that, and then she says, "Why?" And he says, "Well, because they're all the same." And she very sweetly chastises him and says that, "Oh, but they're not." And she's like, "Some of them are taller, shorter, some are missing petals, some have more petals." And then she says, "I think that most of the world's problems are because people are this," and she holds up just a single daisy. And she says, "But they allow themselves to be treated as that." And she just sort of sweeps over the field of daisies. And that's like the theme of the movie is, and like the theme song is from Cat Stevens, "If you want to sing out, sing out." And so, although I understand that there is, for those who are familiar with the film, it may suggest not so subtly that I am into octogenarians. That isn't actually my draw to the film. It really is. I just thought this is that we get one shot at life and make the most of it. And I think that they sell that message really well in that film. So I'd say that's probably my favorite comedy.
I like that. I'm going to go back and watch that maybe this weekend. I've got a little bit of time, but that would be a good one to watch. As a chef, it's often been hard for me in my life to go to restaurants and not be the professional that I am and tell everybody what my opinion is, because my opinion is professional. Have you found, and Christina will attest, I've gotten better. I've learned to enjoy restaurants as restaurants, accept them as they are. Have you found that going to a live play or watching a film, you can be a little bit nitpicky of how it's put together, or like overly critical, or are you really more of an embracing human and love as it is?
So theater, I am an asshole, full-blown asshole. I am not. I go see theater pretty much only if I'm invited by people that I love, or the tickets are free. Like, I am extremely critical. I have lots and lots of opinions. Doesn't mean they're right, but they're mine, and that's it. Cinema is very different because I don't know very much about the world, especially on the professional level. Like, I've never been on a big budget movie set, right? Like, so I can't really pick apart that. But I would say that I'm very critical of scripts because the words are the words, But yeah, I would say that I have gotten better to with going to plays. It's almost like a gratitude list. If I literally have nothing good to say, then I don't talk about it at all. I just ask questions for the people with me. Like, tell me what you liked. What did you think? Or if there were things that I liked, I have to start with those. And like the asset list, my asset list is longer than my resentment list. I can't overload. The truth of the matter is, for the most part, the people that I'm with don't have the experience that I do. So I just sort of come across as pretentious, like, oh yes, Will, I suppose you're right. The angles of the blocking were a bit downstage, and yes, and I would not have chose that character arc myself. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, Will, has been said to me never. So I've learned that most of the time people just enjoyed what they saw, and so I might as well just go with it.
Yeah, that's been my experience with realizing that I don't need to be overly critical of things. I just need to share an experience with people, and when they ask my opinion, I have my opinions, and I can still, share my opinion without being a pretentious jerk.
Yep.
One of my favorite comedies is The Jerk.
Yes. Steve Martin at some of his best.
Yeah, I think that what draws me to it is at that point in American history, they make parody of all these things that were very serious issues, which I now look back on and I'm like, oh, that's totally it.
Yes, The Jerk is an excellent film. It's I actually was much older when I saw it for the first time. It had sort of always been in my periphery, but I'd never actually sat down and watched it. And its social commentary is excellent. Very, very good. I would say up there with Blazing Saddles.
Oh, Blazing Saddles, such a good one. Hey, you know what? It's funny is I feel like Blazing Saddles has been kind of it's been in the social pop culture recently. Maybe it's just the algorithm feeding me what I like anyways, but I've been seeing a lot more Blazing Saddle clips kind of pop up. It's almost like the current generation has just found Blazing Saddles and they're like, oh my God. Because and personally, I think we're at a point in society where we take ourselves way too stinking seriously, and we don't have nearly enough opportunities to laugh at ourselves. And so, I think that Blazing Saddles coming back around is one of those opportunities for people to realize, oh, yeah, we can laugh at how silly this actually is or how serious this actually is.
Yes. I mean, it's, a lot of people I've heard recently, because I've experienced that phenomenon as well. Blazing Saddles seems to be showing up. And people said, well, we could never make that film today. And I was like, the fuck we couldn't. I was like, that film, absolute. I mean, I said, now, from a technical standpoint, you're right. Gene Wilder is dead. Cleavon Little is dead. Slim Pickens is dead. Harvey Gorman's dead. Madeline Kahn's dead. I mean, somehow Mel Brooks is still alive. But I was like, but you're right. But if we could teleport those individuals through space and time to 2026, they would make that movie now, and it would still, it would hit extremely hard, and it would still be funny and also extremely offensive. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, it is, I'd like to remind people, Richard Pryor wrote a lot of the jokes for that film.
Really?
And yes. And so, he wrote a lot of the jokes for the film. And, I said, I think that it would be arrogant of us to decide that we have a better understanding of societal norms. I mean, especially as a white dude, myself, like to decide that I know better than Richard Pryor. on on appropriate ways to lampoon in racism.
Yeah.
I think that would be not to say that I'm not above that level of arrogance, but I like to think that I can trust Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
he's also good.
well, I mean, the man, brilliant, just absolutely brilliant in all of his knowledge and his direct experience to society. Speaking of Richard Pryor, one of my other favorite Richard Pryor films is Brewster's Millions.
I have not seen that.
Oh my gosh, it's a good one. It's a good one. The premise is they give this guy, or he accidentally inherits millions of dollars. But he has to spend these millions of dollars over X amount of days, or he doesn't get the rest of the millions. So he has to, that's right, he has to spend $1 million over 30 days, or he doesn't get the $300 million. Something of that nature. But it's this folly of him trying to spend money in this practical way. There's a bunch of rules. You can't spend it this way. You can't just donate to charity. You have to spend it all, but you can't just give it away. You can't just buy one single $1 million thing. You have to spend it in this really, and then the antagonists are at the same time trying to sabotage his way of doing it and like enticing him with, you could buy these things, you could buy this house or this car, like trying to get him to fail at the game. And so Brewster is just like going through and, trying to make people's lives better through it. But it does parody so much of the times there in the middle 80s of a lot of the social strife that was existing at the time. And so it's a good one, and there are a lot of laughs in that movie.
I'll have to check it out. I really, especially classism. I think that will, I think, pretty much always be a topic just right for lampoon and satire.
Right? Yeah, you're right. Classism it's an easy one. I mean, Monty Python, right? Like, yeah. And it's an easy one to pick on because we can all feel it in some way, shape, or form, and it kind of hits that internal insecurity for myself. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier today. I had envy of kids that had all the brand new sports equipment. They had mom and dad at home. They lived in the fancy house on the west side of town, and I had this preconceived idea that they were judging me from their hilltop castle. But what it came down to was my own envy and kind of like insecurity and jealousy in that. And I could look at it today and I could laugh. Like I can imagine chubby little me just being so mad about Billy and his nice baseball bat, and I didn't get it, so I'm going to be better at baseball. And and part of it kind of drove me, but yeah, it's fun to laugh at that. And it's also kind of frustrating because it is also a very real thing.
Oh, yes. And, one of the things that I really try to remind myself of is that, we could go to, if we could snap a, Thanos style finger and get one wish granted, if we could pick racism or sexism, to get rid of. And the reality is, I think that, yes, it would be a net positive if we could create equity in those arenas. But if we eliminated classism, this idea of superiority, just in and of itself, related to a completely imaginary, it's not even money, right? Classism is money tends to go along with it, but it's just this preconceived idea of superiority. If we could eliminate that, I think that the domino effect, we see a loss of racism. Racism, I think, dies almost immediately with it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, racism is just an extremely violent form of classism.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And sexism, too. I mean, all the isms, ableism and I don't know, schism. I don't know. Isms, lots of isms, lots. Well, and we look for division. And I think that it all comes down to this strange need, maybe, for superiority. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm such an asshole in theater. Whereas I need to be the best. I need to be superior. So I'm, maybe need a little more practice preaching what I preach, practicing. I've got room to grow is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I like it. If we don't have room to grow, then we're dying. Like if we're not growing, we're dying. And that is the baseline truth of the human existence, right? Is if we're not growing, we're dying. And I don't know who said that or where I heard it, but that is not an Andrewism by any means. It is something that I either heard, read, or saw in a meme at some point in my life. So, Will, we have made this hour go by quickly. It went by quicker than I expected it to. And I am so grateful for that because I feel like that's most of our conversations. So I think that what we'll do here today is we're going to wrap up episode 1 here. Great. And we're going to come back and we're going to do another one here in the near future to get a little bit deeper into some more of the stuff that makes Will Steele. And just a side note for everybody listening, I have intentionally, so Will Steele, whatever reason, the iPhone put you in the iPhone as Steele William. So whenever I get a message on when I'm driving and I get a message from Steele William, it has such a ring to it. But I prefer William Steele. You are one of the most wonderful people that I've had the fortune of being introduced to, and I look forward to continuing this.
Oh, thank you. And the feeling is mutual. I was truly honored to get to be a participant in this. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I look forward to getting to go deeper.
Heck yeah, brother. Have a fantastic Thursday. It's Thursday. It doesn't matter to you listening because you may not be listening to it on a Thursday. But whatever day it is, as our friend Pat says, make it the best day of the week.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, he's going to get mad at me for misquoting that. But I'm sorry, Pat. I love you.
No, it's all right. He'll forgive you. He'll forgive you.
Have a fantastic day.
You too. Bye.
That's it for this episode of Here From Where. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. A huge thanks to Justin Pitaleski for the music and sound production, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep moving forward. All the best, and happy cooking.